What's up, guys? My name is Justin. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are back
Gregory,
on
you
iRacing for
can get
Proto-GT and the Ford
4
GT2, and I'm, of
pretty
course, by
easy, but
myself again.
after about
So
3, you're
Jason
gonna know it's
Derulo's
a
here because I'm riding
degradation.
solo, apparently. But anyways, we're going to hop in Discord and just get on the grid. 6 laps, pit stop week at the Nurburgring combined. It's going to be a lot of fun. Love the car, love the track. Hopefully we can just get out here with 0x. But we're having a great discussion in Discord about the state of iRacing again and combining series and legacy cars. So hope you enjoy that. We'll try to make it interesting, but let's get to it.
5 splits. 20, 19, 19, 18, 19. 845, 6 splits. Oh no, I'm sorry. Can I not count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 splits.
Here's a question for you guys. Sorry if that's already what you're talking about or I'm interrupting. What do you consider to be a series that is on life support? Like we talk all the time about how Mazda Cup gets 50 splits and everybody's like, "Wow,
SRX.
your Proto GT only got 3
Now,
splits."
I would ask what's considered life support and what's considered dead. Because I would say like the Porsche vacuum car is dead.
Yeah.
That's true.
But like sprint cars and Silver Crown, I would consider those like life support,
Yeah.
but just barely. Like 1 heartbeat a minute, kind of dead.
But
Well,
like,
if their
The Ford
communities die,
Open is
they
just
die.
on the edge of being on life support.
but what can you do? Like for example, sprint cars and Silver Crown. If we're not going to say, "Oh, we should just get rid of them and kill the series because they're dead," but we are willing to say, "Yeah, there shouldn't be a series in officials for Brazilian stock cars or for the Porsche vacuum because they are actually dead." Like, where's that line and what do you do for them?
I think, gonna start here. So it's like something like the Brazilian stock car. iRacing should have a broadcast split every week. Like something that would draw people in, because when they broadcast a race, it's gonna be popular.
Yeah, you're right.
And like if you want to really make it count, make each week a super session with a broadcasted race Friday night or on the weekend, so you have a reason to race Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like I think that would immediately help. And
Yeah.
especially if it was super session, because that promotes people who are there every week,
Right.
rather than just a bunch of high I-rating guys wanting to show off their VRS sponsor.
Right. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that until we just started talking about things. It's like, okay, the series is already dead, so whatever they try, like it can't get any worse. So they might as well do something.
For like the sprint car and Silver Crown, that's a lot tougher. But I think if you broadcasted 1 split a week, that would help. I think those cars are just so outdated that makes it tough. If we were to say something like the SRX, I was thinking like it would be cool if you could, let's just say with SRX, if you could basically sign up for a quote team. So if they took like big YouTubers or something, like let's just say Dave Cam, Nick, Jimmy Broadbent, or whoever they want to pick, you register for a team and then maybe broadcast which team does better. That's a little extra work and kind of silly. But if it's SRX Superstar, lean into that side of it. I don't know, just that's probably the dumbest idea I've given yet today, Justin. Sorry.
No, there are a lot of dumb ideas, like I said, that I've heard that have made it into iRacing. So I think anything should be on the table. Like I don't know why we frown upon trying shit when the series is already dead. Like we're not losing anything.
What about a like race of champions type style format thing? You know, like where they would bring in guys that run different kinds of cars and different types of tracks. They're all, you know, F1 drivers, GT drivers, all that kind of stuff. What if you did something like that, where it's different
Didn't they
cars,
have
different
something like
tracks
that?
every
A
week?
weekly challenge?
Yeah,
They had a
that
weekly
died
challenge.
too, which was sad because that was actually an innovative thing they tried with a varying cars.
Yeah, every week was a new car and every week was a new track. So you had like 24 variables every season.
Right.
Yeah, I will say though, SRX is going to a lot more free tracks next season, so I almost guarantee you'll see an improvement there. I'm really excited to see how those things do on road courses.
Did your schedule get picked?
It's that one that was close to what I was gonna post. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. We should get on to, maybe now's the time to start the conversation for the season 4 schedule.
I would wait till week 13. A lot of people look on the forums in week 13 just to see what the deal is with the new season stuff.
I think so. I know talking about dead cars. That Porsche Mission R, that car is stupid fun to take to short track ovals. Like if you take it to Hickory and put it in qualifying mode, because you gotta think it's a 1,000-pound or 1,000 horsepower super heavy hunk of junk. It's what a stock car should be.
Right.
If they made a fun series that took that car to short track ovals, I guarantee you'd get a couple more people to buy it just to run that, like it in some way, and then maybe you want to try the official series.
Yeah.
Even if you took like the Clio and made a dirt oval series, even if you just get like maybe 100 dirt oval guys to buy it, because I think that car would race great on oval with the proper setup. It would be a ton of fun. We have a mini stock, but we don't have a Hornet or a front wheel drive mini stock. And then once people own the car, well, now they're more likely to drive it in the official series.
I do wonder if there's a fine line between all the weird, crazy, stupid stuff that they do during week 13. If they made that a weekly thing, if it would become less special and die off, or if it would still be, oh, I can go run Pro 2s on a dirt oval type of thing, you know. I also know, obviously, they don't want to have a bunch of unofficial series going all the time, but still.
But I mean, they have a bunch of official series that aren't going all the time.
I agree with you fully. I just think in their mind, at least from that, if you're committed and if you can race it, you're getting participation credits versus there's no benefit to this at all. Because what they want at the end of the day is people to care about iRating. Because if they don't care about iRating, they stop having any desire to run officials and buy stuff.
That's a tough one.
On a slight side tangent, I'm about 10 seconds slower in the dark than I am in the daylight.
That's actually not that bad.
Practice in the daylight with sunglasses on as a transition.
I'm on my third flying lap right now, and the last two are both about 10 seconds slower.
Dude, I'm going to win this race overall. Nobody's surviving this shit. Actually,
That's
Good content.
I take that back. I mean, a couple of the GT1s are actually good, so they'll probably survive. But I might beat all the Hondas.
What do you consider like a healthy series as far as whether it splits or not?
Well, let's say it's hourly for the sake of this. If 75% of the day, 18 times, it goes official, it's doing fine.
Okay.
I mean, just in my opinion, because stuff like that's regional, like the V8 Supercar, obviously only the Australians and New Zealanders really care about it, even though obviously more people care about it.
I just wonder, like, and I'm not gonna change.
Thank you, brother.
Like, so, like
Appreciate that.
PCC this week,
Oh, you
there's
bet, man. I'm just
less
chilling.
races splitting, which, because my race didn't split, the strength of field was smaller, so I got less championship points.
Sorry, you're talking
Even though
about
I was
PCC this
still-
week?
Yeah, even though I was still racing against the same quality of driver,
Right,
there was just lesser quality of that driver,
right.
and so like that
Yeah,
is
you
kind of
better
a
hit me
bummer
up on the other.
sometimes. But
Yeah, sorry, I thought you'd catch me further around the kink there. That's my fault. Sorry if I scared the fuck out of you.
I thought it would take longer too, honestly.
didn't kill nobody.
Yeah, that was my bad. I'm glad you survived though, man. Sorry, I just almost murdered a Honda.
Yeah, that's their fault for getting so soon. They didn't catch up to 'em.
Driving the Honda. No, though, I know what you're saying. Like, is it a bad thing if PCC has, because we're going to 44 car splits. I probably shouldn't say that live, but I don't even care, honestly. We're going to 44 cars just because it was brought up by the Clio guys that they tried to organize a Clio SOF, and they got 12 people to come, and they were split into 2 groups of 6, and they were like, well, that's stupid, so we're going to try 44 cars instead of 44, or instead of 40. But then you're going to have, like you said, you're going to have, in potential, down weeks like this, you're going to have 25 BMWs ranging from 7K to 300.
Yeah.
Is it possible on their back end where, say, if you have a small group like that, they can put them all into like the top split or something?
We've
Or does
asked
it not
about
really
that
work that
before,
way?
and I don't think it works like that, because I think that in each car count, if you reach the maximum, there's a different splitting algorithm per class, which is why sometimes you'll see in top split like 10 BMWs, 10 Mazdas, but only 5 86s, even though there were like the same amount of everything registered. It tries to space everything out evenly, and so it'll split your groups weirdly, not by put all the right amount of guys in top split. It'll split it based on like some other algorithm, which is kind of dumb, but I guess kind of makes sense too.
Wonder if that's part of that algorithm they had testing for that Charlotte test a few seasons back.
Oh yeah, whatever happened with that anyways, where they decided they were gonna, change the splitting of enduros and stuff. Did that ever like gain any traction? I don't think anybody ever said anything about that.
No, I think that was kind of forgotten about. I don't know what they did there.
I mean, they do have bigger issues, I understand, but also that's gonna, totally fuck up the race manipulation stuff in top splits until they fix it. Same as the pace car thing. It's not a big deal, but it does matter to those of us that run multi-class.
I wish every series had like a mission statement of like, this is what this series is, this is what this series is about. If you're within this I rating range, this is probably best for you. And like, I don't know, I just feel like every series should have its own mission statement. And even in that, like, what should be the primary audience. Like, obviously for V8 supercars, we don't expect them to go official during American hours. But we expect them to go official in Australian hours. And I just think if every series had a mission statement, we could have these discussions around that to try to improve and advance, if that makes any sense.
And arguably equally as important, what a series is not. Like, I don't think anybody needs to be thinking that PCC is going to get them on any pro teams just because they have, like, Ben Hall 6K, whatever. Like, no, you're in the wrong spot. Yes, it's a series that people make their home in, but it's also a learning and developing series. And if you're coming here to tell people they can't drive when they're 1,000 iRacing trying to learn and you're a 6K in the BMW, you're not, helping them. You're just a dickhead.
No, that's a fair statement. I feel like that's where, like, if they said, like, hey, if you're 500 I rating to 3,500 I rating, this is the best series for you to learn multi-class racing. Once you evolve from this class, we would recommend, let's just say what's the other series that has the LMP3?
Oh, the Falcon?
Yeah, let's just say, like, this series is for this. You should evolve into this series. And then once you get to the Falcon series, let's just say that's for people 1,500 to 5,000. And then once you feel like you've evolved here, go race himself. Like, I feel like every series should say, like, hey, this is where you should have came from. This is where you're at. This is when you should evolve.
Well, on a broader scope, sorry, I thought you were done. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I mean, like, people aren't always going to listen, but I think there's some people who need that guidance.
Right, and there are so many series now, it's easy to get lost of knowing where you're not supposed to go, but where you're supposed to go next. And iRacing did a great video that I love in 2011 that was like an iRacing career ladder thing. You might have even seen it, and it just had like, okay, so here's all our content right now, here are the popular series, here's how you, quote, progress your racing career. You start out in the short track stuff, street stocks, and you move to the late model, and you move to C-Fix, B-Fix, A-Fix. On the road side, it's, you start in whatever Mazda Cup, and then you move to Spec Racer Ford and whatever, and then you're in the Formula 1 car, because it was, when they had 25 pieces of content, whatever. But I'm like, that kind of video now as like part of the training on the UI or easily accessible or something would do wonders for just getting people pointed in the right direction. They could even call it the Gavin rule, but like having this shit where, yes, people that come into iRacing and are literally clueless, not because it's their own fault, but because there's so much thrown at them at once, it would be good if they had something structured to say, all right, if you're trying to get into open wheel racing, you do this. You drive the V, and then you drive the Formula Ford 1600, and then you drive the Formula 3, and then you drive the Skippy, and then you drive, whatever. If that's what you're trying to do, versus, oh, there are 12 different series at C-Class and open wheel. I'm just going to buy everything because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I know that's what they want you to do, but that's so unproductive to building iRacing content and building the player base to be long-standing members of trying to stay here for 12 years like I have.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, like, iRacing needs to update their mission statement of like what their goal is. And if it's just to sell content, fine. But when I started iRacing, I feel like the goal was to become a better racer, even if it's sim racing versus real racing. And there was a path you took, and between fast tracking and so many series, and I don't know, it just feels like a mess sometimes.
Right. It definitely feels like for people joining now that it's a game rather than a sim, which is fine. But then iRacing needs to come out and say, yes, we're going to have our hardcore drivers, but we're also going to have the casual drives, and there would allow us to scan all this cool stuff, which is fine.
I mean, even like, I'm just gonna kind of use my
Go ahead, you're Gregory.
my knowledge here. Like if you play a game like Overwatch, there's unranked modes and there's ranked modes, and you could play unranked all day long and have fun, or you could take it seriously. In iRacing, because everything is serious, nothing's serious, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, you're gonna take this unseriously, like, go race this. I don't know. Like, there's just not.
You need a
that
pressure relief
preparation.
valve. You need a pressure relief valve for the guys that just want something to dink around with once in a while. They don't want to get into a serious race where they got to do, you know, an hour of practice before they go do their 20-minute race.
Maybe this is a really flawed logic, but I'm of the opinion personally that none of those people that just jump in and I'm going to race right now with no practice, we know who we're talking about that I'm not going to name, none of those people can beat me because they're not putting in the time and the effort and the dedication that I am to doing this and being good at my craft. And if I do get beaten by someone like that, then I really need to reevaluate my practice.
Yeah, no, I feel like I don't like to race unless I put in a certain level of effort. Not just for myself, but just for the people around me.
Right.
So, like, that's why I do 1 or 2 races a week, maybe 3 on a good week. But there's some people who race hundreds and hundreds of times.
Right.
Because to them, it's a game. It's not. There's no level.
Yeah.
There's no progression. It's just a game. And
Yeah.
I feel like it's worse now because, like, even in the 87s, because the race is hourly, you're getting put in with the fast guys and the slow guys together. That's why I've not done a couple of Indy Oval races, because I'm not to be rude. I don't want to race with somebody 600 I rating.
Yeah.
Who's not going to take it seriously.
Those are all the people that care about wins, not anything else. They just, oh, I've won 1,200 times, but I also DNF 1,800, and so my I rating is 824.
Yeah.
You know, back when I first got on, about 2011, I remember there being some races that didn't even go off every day. They'd be like 3 days a week that some of the series ran on. It wasn't every single day. At least once you got above, like, I think it was like a D license, there was like a few series, at least on the roadside, not every single day, be like 3 days a week. They alternated in, and that was the only opportunities you got to run them. So, like, the competition was pretty damn stiff in those races as well.
It was like what NIS is now. It was. I do remember hearing about that, and I think I want to say it was like the Grand Am Sports Car Series that had the prize back in 2011 might have been like that, but I don't think like regular normal official license series were ever like that. I know they had the 4-hour thing, but I think that you're probably thinking of the stuff that I'm thinking of where it was like an organized prize, almost like a league, but it was iRacing official.
On your left, brother?
I can't remember. It's been too damn long. I just remember there was like a spreadsheet type looking thing that showed what hours and what days everything slotted into, and I don't remember everything that was in it. That was 2011. So, yeah, my brain can't remember that far back in that kind of detail. I just remember it being a thing, and that's about it.
Right.
Silly question. Are you guys? I've seen people reference like certain series don't go every season, so like rotating the series. Just curious your thoughts on that.
I think that'd be a good idea for like similar car series. So like normal 358s versus big block modified. You run one season, and you run the other one the next season, and you alternate back and forth.
I mean, how do you tell someone that just gets their C license, for example, that they've been working for all season, they finally promote at the end of the season? Sorry, you can't actually drive F3 this season because it's not up.
I'm just curious why we even have F3 though if we got Super Formula Lights.
But that's the thing,
Isn't
like
that
to
supposed
some
to be-
people, F3, oh, it's a formula car, it's on the formula ladder, it's, you know, the road to F1, that's more important. And some people are like, Super Formula Light, that's the series, it's the best because it's actual good racing of up-and-coming drivers. You know, there's going to be an argument for everything. There's probably someone out there, I don't know who, someone on crack, that thinks because it's electric and good for the environment that the Porsche Mission R is the best car in the sim. They really probably do. And the
That's
reason
a
I
bold
say
statement.
that,
every single race.
well, the reason I say that is because the Solstice is the best car in the sim to me for a variety of reasons, and people literally think I'm on crack because of that. Like, it's the slowest car, it's the stupidest car, it's basically the oldest scan, it makes no sense, it's not fun. It's a dead car that was in a dead series as far as people were concerned about PCC. Like, people literally think I'm an idiot for liking that car, much less having it be my favorite car. And so I'm 100% sure that someone thinks that the Porsche Mission R is the best thing iRacing's ever done.
Well, only 5 people have signed up to race it this week, so it's got to be one of those 5.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
can't think of anything I'd want to do less than drive that car.
I just drove off the track by myself because I don't like having 0x races when I drive the Ford by myself, apparently. I have 5 incidents now this season, counting the one I just picked up, and they've all been in solo Ford GT2 races. What the fuck is the matter with me? I can't race this car slow. I have to have something to drive. I cannot race this car next season if this is going to be a thing. This is 5 weeks in a row I have not found another Ford.
You need me to break out the Ford again, Justin?
No, it's just, it's not even that. It's even racing like one of you. I've raced with Steve a couple times, and it's just like, really, this is what we have to do to find another Ford? Like, at least in PCC with Clio, again, there are other cars of similar pace, and you can find other people that drive the Clio. Nobody in the United States drives this fucking car except me. I might just 4X myself right here to be done. I don't want to do 3 more laps of this.
Who can do it? I just you can shit. Here's the deal. I've been on the sim this long, and I've driven the M2 as much as I have. I had no clue at the BMW M Power Challenge Series.
I think
know
that
you've mentioned
rotated
it,
cars for a
Justin.
while, didn't it?
Well, it was a multi-class series with the GT4 and the GT3 and the GTP, and then they made it the new GT4, and then now it's the new M2.
Okay, I remember it being multi-class with the GTP. I do remember that.
So it's been a variety of things.
I could have done that many more setups. More guides. Just kidding.
Yeah, it is open. Yeah, you're right.
Though my Portland set seemed good enough for Watkins Glen, so I think I've built every possible setup. There's only like 6 options in there.
Are they trying to position the M2, you think, to kind of be the new MX-5? Like there's, what, three series it runs in now?
Yeah, I don't think so, and the reason being that the MX-5 is like universally popular as, you know, everybody, Miata's always the answer, whatever. It's around the world, it's the car you go to for entry-level driving. I don't think the M2 has that reputation. I think they've gone down the hole the same way that they have with street stock and mini stock. The more rookie options we have, the more people will say, hey, I'm going to try iRacing because of this, and then hopefully get hooked and buy more shit.
Yeah, that car's definitely not a rookie car.
No, it's not.
A rookie car in the sense that it comes with the base subscription.
Well, no, I get
Right.
that, but I mean, like, as far as, like, driving difficulty, like, it's harder to... I think it's harder to drive than the goddamn Australian supercars.
If it was me, for a single make series, I would go MX-5 as rookie, 86 as D, the M2 as C, the Porsche Cup as B, and Ferrari Challenge as A. Based on like what's available for a single make series. Is that a stupid list?
No, you're right though. They've dug themselves a hole with this license split of, well, yes, it did sort out the whole Formula versus fendered cars. Now you're saying like that, like there should be a tier for multi-class, there should be a tier for single make, there should be a tier for Formula single series, there should be a tier for American Formula single series versus European. Like, they've opened this door and this can of worms, and now they can't close it again because they're not understanding what we actually wanted when we wanted a license split.
Well, I feel like if they gave each series a mission statement, they could say like, you should go from this to this to this to this. The thing is they would have to take the M2 and make it a C-class car, and the 8.6 and make it a D-class car. And I feel like they want to push everything Like, why is Ferrari Challenge a D-class car? It shouldn't be, in my opinion. Even Porsche Cup at C-class feels a hair too low. But, like, they don't want to make anything A-class or hard because people don't want to put in the effort. They just want to jump in and run. I feel like there's a disconnect somewhere between, like, what do they actually want? What is their goals?
I think my answer is different 5 or 10 years ago than it is now, honestly. I mean, I'm curious to see how this NASCAR game turns out, and if that ends up being a thing that allows them to turn iRacing back into a more focused thing now that they have the casual people doing that. But, I mean, I think that they're trying to cater as much as they can to revenue streams that they can, you know, I say pull the wool over our eyes, but, you know, do more rescans, keep the sim more current to make all of us that are long-term people and care about it when it was the sim happy. But they can't do that if they don't have the revenue to do such, and so I think that they're trying to do this fine balance of maximum participation, maximum series, maximum driving, maximum money, blah, 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 and still being the sim that everybody loves and thinks is the best on the market.
Do you think the NASCAR game is going to bring more people to iRacing as like a gateway drug, or do you think it's going to take people from iRacing and put it on the NASCAR game?
I think it'll probably
Because
do
they
both.
don't want to. Okay.
I think all the casuals will go back and play the NASCAR game, but people that get back into racing games through the NASCAR game might say, "Oh, I really like this thing that was, you know, made by this iRacing people. Who are they?" I mean, that's essentially what happened to me. Not quite the same way, but when I started on iRacing, it was because I played a lot of Forza, liked racing games, liked taking it more seriously, and discovered it by watching the Peak series at the time, which is now the Coke series. Like, I didn't know anything about it until I was exposed to it and decided it looked cool and wanted to try it. I think that's what the NASCAR game is going to do for people that are serious, but obviously the casuals are all going to probably filter back down to that.
So how long until we get a PCC console game?
I'm gonna say never, considering that we can't even get a split at Homestead. So.
Well, if you would have made us race at Spa every week, like I suggested, we'd have maximum participation.
Yeah, if I was a good community manager.
Speaking of PCC, I keep wanting to run the Clio in it, but I can never find anybody else to run the Clio. Should we just set a day aside throughout the week, like this day, this time slot, we're running the Clio in the PCC?
Like you and
Who's
I,
gonna
or
have
like
more
a
than
community
12?
slot?
Well, I'll try to get as many people in it as possible. I mean, if it's just 4 or 5 of us, that's cool. But if we can get more, that's better.
I think you probably have a good chance of that, but I think that's unlikely because a series like PCC, because the drivers are literally from all over the world, it's really hard to set up a really niche community SOF like that. Like, I mean, like I said, the Clio SOF that they promoted for a week and a half and got all the big Clio people to show up, got 12 Clios.
Although I would think you're probably better off, Chad, to work with the Clio community to set up an American strength of field race. Because I think their strength of field race is like 3 p.m.
Yeah, it's
Eastern.
2 in the afternoon or something on like Tuesdays.
Yeah, we have the same problem with the Formula 4s. I've been trying to get them to do an American one because it's 3:45 slot on Monday is the SOF for the Open Formula Ford series. I'm like, man, I can't make that damn thing.
Yeah, I feel like you'd be better off building a time slot in the Clio Cup than you are in PCC. Just because, like, if you do get multiple, like, let's say if you got 10 Clios, you're likely to get split anyway.
Yeah.
And I think being fixed, more people would probably want to run that. I don't know. I've had the same thoughts. I like the Clio, but making that 3 o'clock midday race is going to be hard for me soon. So.
The regular Clio series does never run in the rain, though, does it?
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know.
correct me if I'm wrong. Hasn't the Clio community talked about doing like a Clio series community strength of field slot, and then immediately after they all get on and do PCC just for fun type of thing? And they're
Yeah,
like
but
basically
that's-
back to back also.
That'd still put it like 3 in the afternoon to maybe 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah, and that's going to be no good for people like me that are on the West Coast. So, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think
Bad.
there's a good solution, because even if you found a quote-unquote Clio PCC group, unless you got people that truly didn't care and just wanted to race with other Clios, I mean, again, to their credit, it's not the fault of their own, but nobody's going to come and get their ass kicked by me every single week just because we asked them to. Like, you know what I'm saying, though? Like, I get it. It's just, how much do you actually want to race with Clios versus how much do you want to take someone's iRating is essentially what you're asking people. Because if we put a Clio PCC race together and it becomes a grind fest, you know damn well there are going to be a couple Europeans that wake up at 2 in the morning to join us just so they can have the extra 25 iRating.
Well, you know what? If it's good, clean racing, I'm all for it.
I'm with you. I'm just saying that because it's become too casual and it's a game, it's just a big numbers flex now. People do weird shit. Like, we can be as pure with our intentions as we want, but people are going to do weird shit because iRating number is big.
See, the other thing about iRating that I ever cared about is just having it high enough to keep me in the top couple of splits for the stuff that I actually want to do. That way I'm away from the riffraff a little more.
That reminds me, I wanted to see what the top split car race was today for the broadcast. I kind of want to do those next season if I can make the cut.
For which car?
IndyCar
Oh,
Oval.
yeah. I mean, yeah, hell, the only thing I'm not in top split for ever is, like, NIS. So, and I never run NIS, so that's irrelevant.
Nope, top split was 5,400 strength of field.
That's
I
crazy.
would have been third split.
That's crazy. Aren't you like 3K?
Which I just under 3K. Which I should still be able to do those races and earn my way up there.
Right.
It's just there used to be a time when my dad could get to top split at Oval, but that's on broadcast and when they raced every 2 hours. So.
Yeah, it seems like general. I mean, the really big stuff where you've got like 8, 9, 10 splits or better, you could have a crazy iRating at the top of those. But everything else, it seems like if it's something that has like 2, maybe 3 splits in it, about 2K or higher is all you really need to make the top, usually. Or you're the top end of split 2.
Well, this is where Nico pulls out the freaking bell curve thing of the median iRating being like 1,600 or whatever. It's like, it's really not that hard to get in the top split if you actually make a conscious effort.
Like the 2
Yeah.
outside of the biggest series, like 2K or higher is usually all you need. Like, because all the other 1,400, 1,500 guys fall into that other split.
In general, yes, I'd agree with that. I mean, like, obviously a series like B Open, you know, the SOF slot or the community slot or whatever, when everybody gets together and runs it in the US evenings, obviously all the setup shops are going to come up together and you're going to need to be a 3K. But I still believe that anybody can be a 3K, so that's a separate point. But I think anybody can be a 3K if they try and have the time.
I always felt like if there was 3 splits, you had to be 3K to be at the top, 4 splits, 4K. Not exactly, because the way the curve is. That was kind of always my reference point.
That's a good rule of thumb, honestly.
Yeah, I think that probably applies more often than it doesn't.
And see, that's how I feel about it. Like, I feel like, I mean, at least for Oval, like, I'm good. I'm decent. Like, I'm 2K. If I had more time to practice and just race 5 times a week, I think I'd be 3K in no time. If I could just do more races.
The key, Nico, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't care whether you're first split, second split, third split, because it's not like you're chasing overall points that you're like so hyper focused on. Like, you want to be 3K and be top split, of course, but if you end up second split and you're like, oh, well, okay, second split, and 2 hours later you don't remember what split you're in because nobody cares.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's how I think too.
Yeah, it's the whole split thing and iRating and chasing points, whatever, like, very few people should care about season-long points and about their iRating. Very few.
My only concern with splits is, generally speaking, not always, but generally speaking, the higher the split, the better quality drivers you have, to an extent, compared to, you know, a 1,000 or 600 I-rated guy, you know, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have like a 3 or 4 split race, top split's going to be safe, but you have a 12 or 16 split race, top split is not necessarily going to be safe, just because of how, going back to, these guys take this game so seriously that they will wreck people just to finish ahead of you.
Right. That's one thing I like in the series that I've run the most. You start to kind of know each other a little bit, you know, because you always end up in the same splits together, and it's nice to know that I can push going into a corner with somebody as long as neither one of us makes an actual mistake. We can get door to door with each other, just freaking hammer on it, corner after corner after corner.
Yeah.
Well, and you'll remember this, and I know Steve beats it to death, but like every series used to be like that. You used to know if you ran a series for 12 weeks, you used to know all the people that you were in splits with because you all just generally stayed around the same pace and raced together every single week.
Yeah. It was way back a decade ago. That's what it was like. I mean, I used to keep a few people on my little contact list thing down here just so I could see when they're going to run. If some of those guys were jumping into Spec Racer Fords or whatever, like, hell yeah, I'm hopping in with these guys.
Right.
It's good times. I miss those days.
I do too, man. I mean, even it got bad, you know, the last half of the 2010s, I'd say, you know, 17, 18, 19, but even then, like pre-COVID was just a different time, and I can't explain enough for people that weren't here for it. It was just different. It felt different because there wasn't as many competitions for good sims. The driver base was cleaner and more respectful, and racecraft was a thing. You could get races and weird combos because people were, you know, interested in driving something fun, not just how to maximize ironing all the time. It was just different.
You know, when I first signed up, I had no clue how iRating worked for like almost 6 months. Now, I'm not like a dummy by no means. It wasn't explained to me, and I just cared about my safety rating. I wanted to have clean races. Obviously, I want to do good. I'm naturally competitive, but I had zero clue what iRating is, and I wish they'd just hide it, get rid of it.
Unless I'm in the process of trying to upgrade a license, I generally don't even worry about my safety rating. I'm not out there trying to wreck people and stuff, but like racking up a 1x here and a 1x there because you dropped a tire on the grass, I don't even bat an eye at that.
I do.
I'm gonna kick Justin.
As you can tell, my half a lap mini meltdown there on the Nurburgring for my first 1x in 2 months.
Yeah, no, that's not me. I mean, I can run a Formula Ford race, be battling up at the front, and I'll rack up like a 4, 5, 6x throughout the course of the race just from going a little bit too wide on exits. Like, not dangerous, not crazy, and sliding through the grass. Just like went 6 inches too far, kind of thing.
I think I'm too much of a perfectionist, though. I think that's it. I don't actually care about the SR as much. Just now that I've reached this level, I don't tolerate that I make mistakes because I feel like I wasn't prepared to race. Like I said earlier, like if I don't show up prepared to race, both from a safeness standpoint and feeling like I'm capable of winning, then I don't feel like I'm ready to race.
This sounds bad though, but like what Chad's doing there isn't really a safety issue.
Right.
It's a competition issue.
Right.
They
I'm a
need to remove
2.5K guy battling with 3.5K guys. I got to do every goddamn thing I can to get around them.
Track limits be damned.
Well, like that should be a warning in sim. Like there should be a separate incident system for that doesn't relate to your safety rating, but still relates to a penalty in the race. And because like I feel like iRacing is too lenient on incidents because you get little off tracks in like 4 little off tracks is not the same as T-boning somebody, in my opinion.
Well, in something like oval racing, like it's easy as hell to rack up SR. I mean, unless you're wrecking every single race, and even then, if you only wreck once, you'll still gain SR in oval racing typically.
You know, Will,
But
I've never thought about. Sorry, go ahead. I'll make my point after you.
I was gonna say, really, like road racing, you know, you've got all the off track opportunities that you don't have with the oval, so it's a lot easier just to rack up miscellaneous exits here and there, left and right.
Formula One, you get what, 3 strikes of going outside track limits, and then you get a 5-second penalty or something.
Yeah, and like that is not viewed as like, oh, that guy's being unsafe.
Yeah, why isn't iRacing do that? Like, why are 1X's a thing? Why is a 1X a thing? If you pick up, quote, 3 1X's, you have a 5-second time penalty, or a drive-through, or whatever they want to do. Why are 1X's a thing? I get you're not supposed to be aiming to drive off track like that, and that's why it's a safety rating penalty, but, I mean, yeah, you're right. You should be pushing the issue if you're trying to go fast, and so it shouldn't be a penalty to drop a wheel once in a while.
But, like, the thing is like, what's the incident limit for a penalty? Like 17x?
Yeah.
Like if you look at 1Xs, that's a shit ton of 1Xs.
Yeah.
But
Well-
they put a tolerance there because what if you get a 4X? In my opinion, if you get 2 4Xs outside, and like you can make an argument for netcode issues, but like if you're getting 2 or 3 4Xs, that should be like a bigger penalty. But we have this wide range because everything falls under that umbrella, and it's not a safety issue if you cut a corner. It's a competition issue. So
Well, it's even issues with like going back to the off-track type stuff. Like the off-tracks here are very inconsistent. There are some tracks that are brutal, just absolutely brutal with how they. Because there'll be spots that look like you're supposed to be allowed to drive on it, and you can't. Yeah, Old Park's got a few of those. Cadwell Park, that real tight hairpin after that S curve thing at the top of the hill. It looks like you should be able to go right off the end of that curbing. It looks like it got green pavement right there as you come back onto the track. Just like, but if you drop one tire into that, you're not off the track surface. It's one tire. Boom, you get a 1X for it. The same thing also on Cadwell Park when you go up the hill, you got the 2 little left benders as you go up the next big hill to that 90-degree right. When you're coming out of that last sweeper before coming up the hill, there's like an area there that looks like you're meant to drive on it, but if you just touch it with one tire, you get a 1X. And if you watch video footage of people running that track in real life, they're driving all over that shit.
no, they're super inconsistent. Even I was practicing the Porsche Cup at Red Bull Ring, and the second to last corner, you can go way wide and not get an X. Then with other corners, you barely touch the edge of the track and it's an X. It's like,
Yeah.
you're so inconsistent. Is it the center line of the car? Is it all 4 tires? Like, it's just
well, the
different all over
rules
the place.
on Red Bull Ring, the rules change corner to corner on that. Like, there's a couple of corners where as long as one tire is touching the green outside of the red, like the green curbing that's past the red curbing, you're cool. But then there's other areas, if half of the car gets off of the red curbing, now you've got a penalty. And you're on the same track, and we're talking like it's from one corner to the next. It varies that much.
And the crazy thing is like, none of that is truly a safety issue. Like,
Nope.
when I was looking at the stats and practicing, like, it was nothing for somebody to have 12X, 6X, 8X. And after practicing there, I'm like, a lot of those are more than likely off tracks. But then if you have somebody who like racks up 3 big wrecks and 3 4X incidents, how are they being penalized the same as somebody who just runs a little wide a few times?
I'm trying to think. What's so on Red Bull Ring, that gravel trap that everybody freaking goes out into, where you got the long straightaway after the hairpin, and then there's that downhill into that right-hander. Everybody goes out in the gravel there. Yeah, turn 5.
I was really surprised how many people went out wide there.
They come in too fast. It's not a hard one, but people they come in way too damn hot.
To be fair, I was very slow too, so I was like 3 seconds off the pace.
But that's another spot on that track that'll bite you in the ass. So like you've got the hard curbing, and then there's just like a little strip of pavement on the other side of it. If one tire goes over that curb and hits that pavement before the gravel trap starts, you'll rack up a 1X there. But again, it looks and feels like it should be part of the racing surface. Like you wouldn't get in trouble in real life if you did that. Like you're basically straddling the curbing with your car. But in iRacing, it's a 1X penalty for some reason.
Yeah, and then on the flip side, because I just drove it, there's the backstretch at Homestead Road Course where if you go over that white line, real likely it'd be a penalty, but God forbid we don't just let everybody cut the shit out of it.
Wait, which one?
Off the
Coming
hairpin
onto the backstretch?
onto the backstretch of the oval. There's the white line that's supposed to be track limits or whatever that blends you back out onto the oval part, and you can just cut the shit out of it and there's no penalty.
Oh, well, yeah, no. I did that a little bit in practice. It didn't save you. I didn't think it saved you that much time.
In the slow cars, it's not a lot, but it's like, let's say 3/10, but that should be a penalty for taking 100 yards off the racetrack.
Well, shit, the Charlotte Roval that when you're going back up onto the banking after that big chicane, there's a shitload of track you can take off at the apron there.
Same thing. And yeah, back before they patched the aprons where you could run around the apron and not get a penalty, it's like, what are we doing?
Stupid Williams F1 Esports.
Right.
Trying to think of some of the other weird ass areas. Oh, Watkins Glen.
Yeah.
In real life. Turn 1, Watkins Glen. Everybody goes way the fuck off that damn curbing. Way off.
They ground the track down and nobody gave a shit.
Well, and you know what would fix that is having a quote NASCAR layout where the track limits, if it's paved, don't apply. Like they do leaving the carousel. Like if it's paved, you can use it. If they want to have a sports car one or a road racing one that, you know, you have to stay in quote track limits, fine. But they need a stock car version since NASCAR fucking goes there and say, yep, if it's paved, go ahead and use it.
You can watch it. I've seen video footage though of people running sports cars of various types around Watkins Glen, and they all go super wide there coming out of turn 1.
Oh yeah, but I just mean like a stock car, they're using it like guaranteed every single corner. There's not a single corner they stay in track limits there.
Yeah, that was true.
Justin will know this, but whenever we get an update to Road America, I feel like we're going to see a lot of issues turn 1, the track limits, because it's no longer gravel out there, it's all paved.
Right.
I don't know.
The thing though is the curbs are still exceptionally bumpy because they're rich curves. So like running over that still has a penalty. It's just not, once you get over them, you're right, it's just pavement again. But I don't think we're going to see it as egregiously as you do at like Watkins, for example. But yes, I agree that if they ever rescan that, there are going to be a lot more people taking advantage of exits of those tight corners.
I know it's not an iRacing topic, but why the heck do they have to just take the gravel out? Just leave the gravel there.
Or, if it's a safety thing, do what Spa did and make it plain as day when there's a track limits violation by putting a 2-foot strip of gravel, and then, you know, just let the rest of it be asphalt behind that. If there's an actual penalty that needs to be applied, you can penalize someone for going over track limits, but you don't penalize them by getting them beached.
Yeah, I don't mind. If somebody gets beached, that's their own fault. You shouldn't have done that anyway. Well, I guess I'm just a jerk.
Well, I think a lot of those tracks are doing it mainly for the motorcycle racers, isn't it? Them gravel tracks are pretty rough when you go tumbling across that on a bike.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
But
that's the story I heard.
But it's like, okay, a gravel trap is designed to stop, for example, a Formula 1 car that has a failure at 200 miles an hour. Why the hell do we need a 500-foot gravel trap for, you know, a Clio club race, whatever? You know, like, track limits is not the same thing in every series, or like what you need to keep the cars safe is not the same in every series, obviously. Like there's no good solution.
But they basically build the track to whatever they think the fastest thing is going to run around it is.
Yeah, but I mean, forgive me, like there are a whole bunch of corners at Road America that, God, Justin, don't drive off again, dumbass. There are a lot of corners at Road America that if you take an LMDH car there and take its brakes away, you're gonna fucking die. But that doesn't mean the corner's wrong. It just means that, again, shit happens in race cars. It's the blood tax. If you fly off a turn 1 at Road America with no brakes, you're going to hit the wall, whether you put gravel or asphalt there. Like, doesn't make a difference.
Fair point.
I'm just not a fan of them taking away gravel traps and putting in asphalt because people abuse it and we have these issues. Just let there be gravel or grass or a wall.
I think everybody's like super conscious of safety though, which is a problem. I mean, look at the whole Ryan Preece thing with the backstretch. Good race, everybody. With the backstretch at Daytona, it's like, let's take all the grass away, and now all we have is this ugly ass black thing all the way down the backstretch.
And here's the deal: like, look at Zilich's incident. I know it's Talladega, but again, no grass. So now, like, you have somebody T-boning a wall and missing a race.
Right.
But it's like racing is inherently dangerous. You can't take all the danger out unless you park the cars. And like, there's certain ways to mitigate it, but overreactions to one incident without, like, I don't know, I just feel like they do jump the gun, like the Preece incident, like, and I don't think all asphalt's that much safer, and it does look like dog shit.
Well, like you said, I mean, if you make it all asphalt, the option is that they go flying into the inside wall at crazy speed because they can't stop. if you put grass there, they might flip over. But I thought the whole point of making the cars safer was that when something like that happens, they dissipate energy and the driver is supposed to be okay. Don't you want the car to be flipping versus pancaking the wall at 150?
Yep. No, I
Like,
agree
it
with
looks
you 100%.
spectacular and it's scary, but theoretically for safety, it's better.
No, I agree with you 100%. Like, removing the grass on the backside of Daytona was a stupid idea. I don't know, like, NASCAR sucks anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
I don't
saying
wanna
we
get on
want a
too
whole
big of a
bunch
rant.
of, I'm not saying we want a whole bunch of Greg Moores hitting like exposed walls because of grass and shit, but at the same time, you know, there has to be a solution that can be safe with access roads and grass and wall design, all this stuff that doesn't involve us just having essentially missiles heading for the inside wall.
Well, is that the guy that got smoked at Pocono years back?
That was
Auto Club.
yeah, Auto Club in '99 was Greg Moore. I'm trying to think of weird time.
Okay.
Justin
There was
Wilson
somebody-
when he got hit with the thing with the wing bit.
Somebody. I don't think it was that long ago, but he.
Robert Wickens.
Wickens is the one that hit turn 2 with Ryan Hunter-Ray. Got quadriplegic.
Got in the catch fence.
Wilson was the one that took the nose cone from Sage Karam's car. But yeah, I mean, like, that's freak stuff, and that could happen with any scenario. You can't prevent that, like you're saying, Will. So doing all this stuff to like make the wreck safe or whatever, you don't know how they're gonna wreck. You know how they think they're gonna wreck, but you don't know how they're gonna wreck.
Well, shit, look at Earnhardt's death. That didn't look like that bad of an accident, at least from the outside, and it freaking snapped his neck.
Right. Yeah, and then I mean, think of Gordon's crash in 2008 at Vegas. Like, he hit a bit of wall that they were like, no one will ever hit here. Well,
That was a hard hit. I remember
was a hard
watching
hit.
that one. Yeah, I remember watching that one live. Like, there's certain wrecks I remember watching live, and that's definitely one of them. It's the way the radiator shot out.
yeah.
And I remember Kenseth, I think, almost hit that.
Yeah, Kenseth saved it because he's the superior driver. But yeah,
But I remember watching that hit. That was a hard hit. And I was like, yeah, you're going to feel that one tomorrow.
I think he probably still feels that one today. Like, I think that was the start of his serious back issues.
Yeah, he had a big one at Pocono, too, going into one. A lot like Bubba Wallace had recently.
Yeah,
with
that
the brake
was,
failure.
what, 2006, something like that?
Yeah, that was a little earlier. To be fair, like, I don't think Jeff gets enough credit for how long he raced and never missed a race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, he drove through some dangerous eras. Like, what he started in and what he retired in were completely different
Well,
safety standards.
and nobody thinks of him as like a safety pioneer in the way that, you know, like Jeff Burton and Bobby Labonte both, you know, were like, yep, if you have a Hans device, I'm trying it. I'll make it work for me. It's supposed to be safer. I trust what they say. He was never like, yes, soft walls. Yes, Hans device. Yes, you know, all this stuff, right? At least in the public
Yeah.
perception.
Yeah, I mean, he might have been behind the scenes, but yeah, no, he never spearheaded it, that's for sure.
Right.
Although I think he was real big into the carbon fiber seat, because that's the thing. Like, if you ever go to the NASCAR Hall of Fame and you look at the seats they had, like even back in like the mid '90s, early 2000s, they were just like Kirky aluminum seats, screwed on headrests, like stuff you would find in a street stock at
Yeah.
your local dirt track. And now what they have, like $20,000 carbon fiber inserts, but they are a hell of a lot safer looking.
Yeah. That and the helmets were two of my favorite exhibits in the Hall of Fame. Was like the progression of that stuff.
You know, there's one there that I really liked. I don't know if you saw it. There was a section of where all the stuff they've confiscated in tech,
Oh, really?
all the cheater stuff. And there's one, I think it would have been 2003 or 4. It was a carburetor, and they don't say who it is, but I almost guarantee it's the carburetor off of Ryan Newman's car, where he was running the smaller carburetor, and he kept winning all those fuel mileage races.
Oh, 2003. Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed seeing that. 'Cause I was like, oh, hey, it's just funny. Decades of them using carburetors, and even our local short track, like, we had a tool to measure if the carburetor was too big, but we never measured if the carburetor was smaller.
Right.
And there is some advantage to just being slightly different. You just have to play to your strengths.
Yeah, I mean, it pisses me off. Again, a little off topic. It pisses me off that people are like, well, Ryan Newman won 8 races in 2003. He should have been the champ. Motherfucker had 9 DNFs. Like, no, Matt Kenseth had like 23 top 10s and like 31 lead lap finishes. Don't give me that shit.
What do you guys? I know we're changing topics here. What are you guys' thoughts on the Penske
What, sorry?
at Indy thing? The Penske car quote cheating at Indy.
I mean, in my opinion, if it doesn't conform to the rule book, and they found it and found a discrepancy, yeah, they should be thrown out. What I don't like is people, like, I think I said this in the Today Spoilers chat, whatever. They went back and looked at last year's car and were like, oh, he had it on last year. I'm like, well, it passed tech pre and post race, so it's legal. Like, even if it's not in the rule book, if they cleared them, what are you supposed to do? You can't retroactively be like, hey, you had this thing last year.
And maybe because I grew up in it and I raced and stuff, it's the racers and the team's job to cheat or to push the limit, and it's the series' job to catch them. And in my opinion, Penske Racing did its job, and IMS did its job. They pushed the limit and they caught them.
Right.
No harm, no foul. I really think, and I know I'm changing topics here, I'm sorry. People are so up in arms about the Penske cheating thing because nobody in the industry has the balls to say Roger Penske has failed with the IndyCar series. Am I like they got a decade-old car, they can't figure out the engine deal. They have this haphazard hybrid system to keep Honda happy. Like Roger has failed on every front in IndyCar, but nobody's brave enough to say that to him. So everyone's grandstanding on the cheating thing in the industry. You always have idiots online who act like race cars cheating is the end of the world when they
Yeah.
all do it. I know that's kind of a change of topic there.
Well,
Just
it's
curious what
only
your
been
guys'
a
thoughts
couple
are.
years, so I'm not ready to throw the book at them. But I just, again, the hybrid, after watching the Indy 500 back and seeing what people thought about it, I'm like, that's a band-aid, and nobody's going to call Penske out because he's Penske.
Well, like, and they're just trying to jerk off Honda because they can't quote afford Honda to leave. It's like hybrid technology in racing that was done back. Am I wrong? Like the LMDH or not LMDH, the LMP1 stuff. Like that's decades old technology already. Anyway, like
Yeah, I mean,
you're not innovative at all.
you're right, as soon as the Lamar, whoever organized Lamar, I forget, got rid of, like, turned the advantage 25 years ago to benefit diesel-powered cars for fuel mileage, that's when hybrids became a viable option, and they've been in racing ever since then. I mean, Formula One's had it for what, 12 years now? Like, it's not a new thing. It's just about how you utilize it.
And
Look,
what IndyCar has isn't even a fucking hybrid system anyway.
Right.
It's a capacitor with no batteries, and it gives 5 seconds. I mean, 5 seconds over a road course. What? That ain't jack shit. Like, I don't know. I just sorry, I get passionate about it. Just I don't know. It's just stupid.
Porsche's flywheel hybrid system lasted longer than that. I don't know if everybody remembers that one or not. The spinning flywheel that they had in what would have been the back seat on a 911.
Yeah.
Like they think, if I remember right, that was good for like 20 or 30 seconds before it would spin down and have to get spun back up again.
Right.
I don't know. I just think everyone grandstands, and then you have the dummies online who like think the racing needs to be this perfectly pure thing when it's not. I just I don't know. I just think it's funny.
Right. I gotta end this vid. I will be right back then. All right. Well, again, another boring Ford GT2 race is the only one. I'm really mad at myself. Not that I actually care, but I'm really mad at myself that I picked up that 1X because I'd gone, I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks through various racing. Obviously, I have done a lot of these stupid ass solo races because I can never find a Ford, for God's sakes. But I mean, even on oval stuff and the other stuff I've done, I think it's been 7 weeks since I had a incident point. I think those four that in the video you didn't see at Suzuka, the one that was the warm up, I guess, for lack of a better term, to the one I talked about expectations and all that stuff at Suzuka. Like, I think those are my only 4X of the season before this. So I'm pretty pissed that I lost focus there and just locked up a little bit and slid off. But it doesn't fucking matter. I mean, series is all but dead. I mean, at one of the most popular tracks on the sim at the Nurburgring, you know, like we can't even find another Ford ever. I mean, it's been 26 or 27 hours since the week changed over, and I'm the only Ford that's raced, I think. I don't think, or I should say, I don't think there's been another race at all that's had multiple Fords. So it's whatever. We're gonna run it next week, I think. I don't remember where, and that's gonna be my participation done. Then we'll just not race it or not race it weekly on the channel next season because I can't be bothered. So it is what it is. But I hope you enjoyed the discussion that we had / are having about the state of racing and cheating and rules and iRacing. And I mean, it was a long video. It was a long race. Don't get me wrong. It was what, like yeah, like a 50-minute race. So apologies for this being an hour-long video. I didn't really intend for it to be, but I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. And I appreciate it, Love and Sport. Again, thanks to Nico and Will and Chad for keeping in it and keeping me entertained and distracting me and causing that 1X, so I blame them. But regardless, it was a lot of fun. So I guess we'll be on to what's next. I hope you have a great Friday, great rest of your day. Check out Porsche Unleashed tomorrow, NBA Live 08 on Sunday, and I have a couple more iRacing videos planned for early next week, and then boom, we'll be on the week 12. So I appreciate you all so much. Till next time, though, as always, bye.